Yew Chong.
I'm Mayor.
I'm Val.
And I'm Sheereen. In this video, we will be walking you through the design process behind our project, the Greenhouse Vertical Farm.
The design thinking process includes empathize, define, ideate, and the prototype stage, where we develop our idea. However, before diving into these stages, we first have to understand the problem at hand. The driving question for this innovative project is to come up with an engineering solution to bring fresh produce to consumers in a retail setting. Before coming up with ideas, we did some research on produce. We found out that most produce lose 30% of nutrients 3 days after harvest. With 90% of food in Singapore being imported, it will be hard to maintain the freshness of produce during their transportation. University of California studies show that produce can lose 15 to 55% of vitamin C, for instance, within a week. Some spinach can lose 90% within the first 24 hours after harvest. For us to create a product that satisfies the consumer's needs, we have to put ourselves in their shoes and understand their point of views when buying produce. We can do this by creating a point of view table and an empathy map.
A POV template allows us to ideate and solve the driving question in a goal-oriented manner while keeping focus on our users, their needs, and our insights about them. The users we have identified for this project are consumers of produce in Singapore. We will fulfill their needs of being able to buy fresh produce at an affordable price at their convenience. To fulfill their needs, however, we might face some difficulties. For example, higher quality produce will always be more costly than lower grade produce. Locally grown produce is also not common in Singapore due to the lack of space for agriculture. Lastly, Singapore's constant warm climate might limit the variety of produce grown here. Next, an empathy map is a collaborative tool that teams can use to gain a deeper insight into their customers. With this, we can understand what the consumers say, hear, think, feel, and what actions they take about fresh produce. For example, they think about which brand of produce to buy, talk about the cost of the produce, and choose organically grown produce. Of course, the need for fresh produce brings about both benefits and drawbacks. The benefits include tastier produce, while the drawbacks include greater costs.
With a thorough understanding of our consumers, we came up with a problem statement, which is how might we provide an engineering solution in a retail setting to bring produce farms closer to the consumer at a reasonable price and is compact. Based on our research, we found different methods to cultivate agriculture, aquaponic, hydroponic, and vertical farms. Aquaponics is a combination of aquaculture, which is growing fish and other aquatic animals, and hydroponics, which is growing plants without soil. Aquaponics use these two in a symbiotic combination in which plants are fed the aquatic animals' discharge or waste. Hydroponics is a type of horticulture and a subset of hydroculture, which is a method of growing plants, usually crops, without soil, by using mineral nutrient solutions in an aqueous solvent. Vertical farming is the practice of growing crops in vertically stacked layers. It often incorporates controlled environment agriculture, which aims to optimize plant growth and soilless farming techniques such as hydroponics and aquaponics. We came up with a decision matrix to find out which method was the best to bring fresh produce. To do this, we factored them by their profitability, feasibility, space efficiency, and efficiency in growing crops. We scored the different methods from 1 to 5, 1 being the worst and 5 being the best. We then got an overall score of 17 for vertical farms and used vertical farms as a basis for our ideation.
We continue to develop our idea by combining vertical farms with the greenhouse. Our unique selling proposition is that our greenhouse allows us to regulate the temperature to grow produce that normally cannot be grown in Singapore's tropical climate. We will place our vertical greenhouse farm on roofs of high-rise buildings to take advantage of Singapore's sunlight while still having the ability to control the indoor temperature of the farms. Hence, creating a conducive environment for all varieties of produce to grow. And because it is locally grown, we can ensure the quality and freshness of the produce. There are some advantages to our vertical greenhouse farm idea. It offers a plan to handle future food demands. It allows crops to grow year-round. It uses significantly less water. Climate and temperature can be adjusted to accommodate a wide variety of plants. More organic crops can be grown, and there is less exposure to chemicals and disease. However, there are still some cons to our idea, such as it could be very costly to build and economic feasibility studies haven't yet been completed. It would involve higher labor costs and it relies too much on technology, and one day of power loss will definitely influence the quality of produce.
This concludes our design thinking process behind our greenhouse vertical farm idea. Thank you all for watching. We hope you enjoyed.
Bye-bye.